Welcome to TiE. My name is Anita Manwani, and we are so glad to be sharing with you our second session on the Trendsetter series. This is a series we introduced to bring thought leaders who share with you the next generation technologies, how they will change our lives, and they represent innovators, executives, and the investors. And today's session is about NFTs and cryptos. We all know it's right around the corner. It's going to change our lives tremendously. And we have an amazing set of speakers to share the information. So put on your learning caps. And to moderate this conversation is going to be Kritika Reddy. She is my fellow board member and is the president of Athena SPAC. She was the ex-MD of Facebook India and also a partner at SoftBank in her prior career. So no better for us to have Kritika moderate this conversation. And we want to welcome Mai and Benyu, the power couple who co-founded this company, and they are going to be sharing with you how we can use NFTs in our personal lives and our work lives. So over to you, Kritika. And good luck on this conversation. Ben and Mai, we are very excited to hear more about Curious Addies. Just a little plug. This conversation is so important, and it's just a precursor because we have a whole track at TiEcon, which is from May 5th to May 7th. And we have a track on NFTs and cryptos. So we hope that if this is just a teaser, and you will all register and join that track as well later in May. Thank you.
Anita, thank you. And welcome again, everyone. I'm Kritika Reddy. And so excited to be here with Mai and Ben. This is, as Anita said, our second in our Trendsetter series. Quick reminder that we have a special for the university students who are tuning in. Listen intently and send us your 200-word takeaway on how NFTs and crypto is going to change how we live and work, and you'll have the chance to get a $100 certificate for the TiE Trendsetter Award. Here are the details on who you send your submission to. So it's TiE Trendsetter Series at gmail.com. We'll post these details after the talk as well. And we have an even additional surprise for our audience tuning in today. At the end of this session, drum rolls, we are going to have a giveaway of a Curious Addie NFT. And I have to tell you, having mine, which I really pursued hard for and got the one that really resonates with me from my identity and expression perspective, I'll tell you, everyone, you're in for a treat. And before we jump into this session, we also are so delighted to announce the winner of the last award for high school students for their submission on how voice technology is going to change how we live and work. And Molly, do we have a slide? Do I share? Am I ready? So last week's essay competition goes to Kyra Roy, who is 11th grader from Mumbai, India. Kyra, if you're on, congratulations. And we will be following up with your award. Kyra wrote this beautiful essay, which we will publish, about how you could have people talking in a conversation from Japan, from India, and from different parts of the world, and using voice technology, how everyone could actually hear in their native language with the right inflection, tonality. And she spoke about how voice can create a more equitable world. So very excited to share that submission and can't wait to hear your thoughts from this one. And without further ado, let's talk about crypto NFTs. Why are people spending billions on NFTs? Projected to be an over 100 billion market this year. So it's not just around the corner, it is here and now. And to get started, we have a quick audience poll as we get to know our audience. Our first poll, Molly, is going to be about your NFT experience. Molly, are we on with our poll? You have to click the poll at the bottom. We do not see a poll at the bottom, but maybe, there you go. All right, all right. So what's your experience with NFTs? And your answer could be, what's an NFT? I've never heard of it. 2, I have some understanding. 3, I'm an expert. I could run this panel. So we have 30 seconds. Let's send in your answer. And we have questions, audience questions about whether the webinar is recorded. The answer is yes. So, Mai and Ben, yes, your audience, the majority have some understanding. We have some beginners, and you're going to have new things for the part of the audience that says that they're NFT experts. And trust me, you're going to learn a few things. All right, your next one. What's your experience with crypto? What's crypto? I've dabbled. I have my portfolio of cryptocurrencies that I invest in. And 3, I'm a crypto expert. I could give you investing advice. 30 seconds. I have a question from the audience about whether failed ICOs count, but let's see. All right, we have a very similar distribution. Maybe there's a direct mapping here between the NFT experts and the crypto experts. Our last poll question. Is it just a fad? I've been hearing about this all over. So your first answer is just a fad, just trendy right now. 2, it's going to be around, but we'll see how long it lasts. And 3, they're here to stay. How big is the sample size? Big enough, Gagan? And it's a sample size of the audience calling in today so that we get to know our audience. Definitely a fad, says 12%. Oh, our majority says they're here to stay. All right, so you have believers here, Mai and Ben. So excited to have you here. Mai is an OG in the world of crypto, and don't forget to read her article about why women should do exactly what they think they are not good at. I'm paraphrasing. And Ben here comes from being a Harvard dropout, a TiE fellow, which also has many other amazing people in that program. So without further ado, Mai and Ben, tell us, is it a fad? Is it going away? And what should people know about where we are today? And even more importantly, the future of digital assets. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Karsiga. This is so great. It's so amazing to have this poll before we even start so that we know what exactly you all are, and we can kind of arrange the narrative according to that. So thank you so much first of all, thank you so much for having us, and let's dive in.
Awesome.
Let me share my screen. Okay. Screen. Does everyone see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
Perfect, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Cool. So as we mentioned, we are going to dive into demystify NFTs, and we're going to talk about what NFT is and why NFT has value, and how to buy and sell NFTs and how to create NFTs. So it's going to be like, we have only half an hour, so it's going to be a little bit quick. But after this presentation, we will accept some questions. So if you have any questions, please ask us anything. So who we are, my name is Mai. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Curious Studies. So Curious Studies is a Web3 startup building the educational platform. So we saw the problem that, hey, Web3 is really hard and overwhelming, and there's no single place where you can go to. So we decided to build this product to welcome people where people can learn everything about Web3.
And I'm Ben Yu. I'm the CTO over at Curious Addies, and I made a course on NFTs that with Curious Addies that became the best-selling course on NFTs with Nas Academy. You can see that. Also, if you go on Google NFTs 101, Ben Yu, or Crypto 101, Ben Yu, you'll see 2 articles that kind of cover the same kind of stuff that we do here, though we're trying to condense this a lot. And it's really great that most of you believe in NFTs already. So we won't cover quite as much of the selling point on NFTs as originally planned. So quite excited to be here today.
Yeah, cool. So part 1, what are NFTs? So last year was year of NFTs, and we probably saw like crazy news, like NFT artists sold NFT for $69 million, or CryptoPunks, just a little pixel image was sold for $24 million. And Adidas, one of the biggest shoe brand, partner with Bored Ape Yacht Club, which just came up last May. So what exactly is happening? And I'm glad to hear that most of the people actually think it's not a scam or it's not a fad. It's we both are in the same page. We believe NFTs are the future, and NFTs is the thing that can make crypto go mainstream. And we're going to go more into like why NFT has values and why this is a future. But first of all, I'm going to quickly cover what exactly is an NFT. So NFT stands for non-fungible token. And you probably know some of the stuff, but fungible tokens, some fungible items are the thing that's perfectly interchangeable. So for example, like US dollars is interchangeable. If you have one US dollars and if I have one US dollar, both of us know that one US dollar has exactly the same value. So we can perfectly exchange. But most of the things in the world are non-fungible. My dog, your dog are different things. Your house, my house are different things. So non-fungible tokens are the unique tokens. Then each one of them is different, has different traits and different values. So how do NFTs work? And there's a misconception that people think that art itself is an NFT, but that's not actually true. It's actually a certificate that represent certain digital assets, such as images or art or videos or text or whatever the items that it should represent. And it also shows who the owner is. So think of it as the title of the house. If you just look at the house, it doesn't tell you who the owner is. It's actually the title that tells you who the owner is and what kind of asset, which house it's represented to. So think of the NFT as a title of the house. And this record of this token, the certificate representing this asset and owned by this person is saved in the database. And that records can be viewed by anyone. And it's almost impossible to change that data once it's stored in the blockchain. So that's why it was before NFTs, it was impossible for digital assets to have values, and no one was valuing the digital assets because no one was able to prove that who owns it. But with NFTs, true ownership of digital asset became completely possible. So if someone claims that if someone claims your art is that their art, you can just say, look at the blockchain, look who owns this, I own this, and it's completely publicly viewable. So because of that, for the first time in the history of internet, digital ownership became completely possible. Ben?
Yep. All right. Perfect. So now that we talked a little bit about why, what an NFT is and all that, let's dive into why NFTs actually have value and why people are paying, hundreds of millions of dollars for all these NFTs. And to really understand that, we need to dive into 2 core things, and we can draw on the world of existing physical art to really understand this. And we need to understand, one, why physical art pieces like the Mona Lisa are worth $800 million. And then we need to understand why original art pieces have more value than replicas, even if those replicas are fairly indistinguishable. So if we go over to the next slide, we see here the Mona Lisa. And bye.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Great. And so, yeah, so why is the Mona Lisa, for example, the most famous art piece ever made worth $800 million? And we can say it's because it's the best art piece ever made. Or we can say maybe it's because it's the most famous art piece ever made, or maybe it's just because people are totally crazy. And maybe it's none of the above. And so certainly, okay, sure. Maybe if it's the best art piece ever made, maybe it's worth 800 million. Who knows? What is the value of art? Maybe if it's the most famous piece ever made, maybe it's worth that much. Well, we need to dig a little bit more deeper into that. But let's first figure out exactly why the Mona Lisa is worth this much. And so if we go and actually look at the history of it, it's a little interesting. If we say it's because it's just literally the best painted art piece ever, there's an interesting fact. And that fact is, for 400 years, the Mona Lisa wasn't actually famous. Very few people actually knew about it. And almost no one outside of the actual art world heard of Da Vinci or thought that this was the best piece ever made and so forth. And even looking at like Da Vinci's own work, it's not exactly clear why the Mona Lisa itself is better than any of the other pieces of art that he's made, right? But certainly it's much more valuable than all these other pieces. So what exactly happened about 100 years ago that made the Mona Lisa so famous and now so valuable? Well, it was really just an accident. And so in 1911, the Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre Art Museum in France, and it was stolen by this Italian thief. And then overnight, this became an entire massive scandal where every newspaper across the world was reporting about this crazy incident where this huge art piece had been stolen from like this massive national museum in France, and it became this like whole scandal, and everyone started hearing about the Mona Lisa. And that mindshare in of itself may have been just a blip on the radar. World War I just happened very recently afterwards, and so it wouldn't have stuck by itself. But that initial little spark then did something very interesting. It started to make people start creating memes of the Mona Lisa. And so a few years later, there was another famous artist who created a parody of the Mona Lisa, a little like vulgar little meme that they put together. And that was kind of funny. People thought it was, a silly little thing. So they started spreading it. And as that spread, other people got inspired and they thought, oh, I should also make these kind of parodies and memes of the Mona Lisa. And today you can see we're still doing this, right? So this is the Corona Lisa. And so it's just a very parodied, memed piece. And because of that, now you can go to anyone in the world, in Asia, Europe, Africa, America, wherever you are, chances are if you ask them about the Mona Lisa, they know what the Mona Lisa is. And that really just happened because of an accident. So this is really fascinating because, if it was the best art piece, you would think that, people would have acknowledged this widely as a consensus, like, throughout all of time. It wouldn't just be this one accidental event that happened that made it so. And so really the Mona Lisa is worth the $800 million that it is just because it's extremely famous. And it's extremely famous not because it's technically such an incredible masterpiece, though certainly it's extremely well made by an extremely good artist. There are lots of good art pieces out there made by incredibly good artists that are worth just a fraction of this price. It's really just because of an accident that gave the Mona Lisa such massive mindshare. And so knowing this, are you a little bit more hesitant on the value of the Mona Lisa or less hesitant? And that's interesting, right? Knowing that it's not due to any intrinsic necessary quality about this piece that makes it so valuable. Is it really worth this much? Well, there's an interesting thought experiment. And the former art director of the Louvre actually estimates that about 80% of the people who go to the museum go solely to see the Mona Lisa. And we can do some quick math here. People pay about $20 admission to go to the museum, and there are about 10 million visitors every year. And so that comes out to $160 million that people are paying basically just to see this one art piece. And so it really does have meaningful value and power just from being famous. And this can translate to a lot of things, right? If you're going to make an advertisement and you want to make an advertisement parodying the Mona Lisa versus, another famous Da Vinci painting, much less famous, the Lady with the Ermine or something like that, right? Chances are this is going to be a lot more impactful and meaningful just because people are aware of it. And so if you go over to the next slide here, and we, now we need to talk about the next thing. So now we've kind of established that a art piece, due to its mindshare alone, due to its fame and all that, can kind of justify the value, right? $160 million over $800 million is actually a fantastic kind of return on your investment, so to speak, right? If you were able to buy, any real estate investor will tell you the cap rate on that is fantastic. If you're able to buy a property, an asset for 800 million, and it gives you under 60 million in cash flow every year, that's quite good. And so now let's talk about why exactly does the original Mona Lisa have so much value over a replica. And so this is actually a replica of the Mona Lisa, right? And if I look at these, I literally have no idea which one actually the original is, right? And so there's an argument that, for physical art pieces, you can't ever quite perfectly capture the original, right? There's always something a little bit different. But there's an interesting fact. And the fact is 20% of the art in museums is estimated to actually be fake. And this is art that has been certified by experts, right? People who spend their entire careers just trying to figure out if a piece of art is genuine, authentic, or not. And they can't tell the difference. There's no chance that I can tell the difference if I go into a museum. And chances are, statistically, all of us who have ever walked through a museum have spent time looking at an art piece that was fake, that was not the original. And we didn't know it. And it probably gave us the same experience as if we thought it was real. There's absolutely no emotional difference looking at one piece versus the other, all these things. But what's also interesting is there are no museums in the world where you just look at known fake replica pieces. And there's just something intrinsic that we understand about physical pieces in the world where the original just intrinsically has more value by the sheer fact of being the original over a replica. There's just something less, there's a je ne sais quoi about it. You can't really put your finger on it, but there's something just a lot less appealing about going into a museum and knowing that all of these are just replicas, they're fake. And so, that's a really powerful thing that we just intrinsically seem to understand about physical art. And this also, for the first time, can be applied to digital art. And so if we go over to the next slide, this talks a little bit more about, just the more something shared, right? The more it's seen, the higher its cultural value. The higher its cultural value, the higher the status to own it. And so if we go over one more slide over here, we're going to start seeing a interesting analog. These are memes, right? And so you might see, you probably are familiar with these if you're under the age of 100. It's very popular now. So there's on one side, we have Side-Eye Chloe, and then on the other side, we have Disaster Girl. And so these are extremely famous memes where Side-Eye Chloe was just a complete accident, right? It's just this adorable, cute little girl who was very not impressed that their family was going to Disney World again for her sister's birthday. And so they were filming this video just in the car. It got posted to YouTube, and she's just like, oh my gosh, we're going to Disney again. And it just was so funny that as a total accident, people started memeing it. And now almost everyone in the world, like of a certain generation, at least knows Side-Eye Chloe. And over here, you have Disaster Girl, and it's, this like sinister looking girl who looks kind of happy that this house is burning in the background, right? And so people also thought that was hilarious. It also became a meme. And then there's Sticker Shock. These sold as NFTs for $74,000 for, Side-Eye Chloe and $473,000 for Disaster Girl. And at first you're like, this is crazy. These are just total random accents that people just like put as a photo or a YouTube video. And like, how could this possibly be worth so much money? But then if we really look back to the fact that everything that we value, even in traditional art that has so much value, really comes from this cultural context, this fame that may come through merit, may come through an accident, whatever it is, when you have that fame, it justifies it in of itself. This starts to look like a steal. When you think about how many people, a lot more people probably actually know about Side-Eye Chloe than like the Mona Lisa in like certain generations, right? That are more internet savvy, more on the internet today. And like in those generations, maybe this actually is more profound. It has more emotional meaning than the Mona Lisa. And now you're starting to see maybe that this is a bit of a steal. If you can own the original Side-Eye Chloe meme for just $74,000, whereas the Mona Lisa itself is worth 800 million. And so that's something there. And then let's talk a little bit about other NFTs that you might be familiar with. On the next slide, we have CryptoPunks. And so CryptoPunks are known, you might have heard of them. They're the first PFP NFT collection. PFPs are profile picture NFTs. And so it's a collection of these 10,000 randomly generated, unique, little just pixelated punks. And for some reason, these have sold for millions of dollars. I have a friend who was an art Teal fellow. He started Figma. He bought this for $15,000 in 2018. He bought what he believed was the Mona Lisa of NFTs, of digital art. They were selling mostly CryptoPunks for about $100 to $200. No one really had any value behind them yet. No one really thought that this was a big deal. But there was one that was ultra rare. It was this alien that smoked a pipe and all these things. Number 7,804. He bought it for $15,000. And at the time, he thought, this is at once the dumbest thing I've ever done, but also I think it's going to work. And, he asked his fiance and she's like, I do think it sounds really dumb, but also I support you. He's like, all right, I'm going to do it. He bought it. And then last year he sold it for $7.5 million, right? And so like this crazy, insane gain over what he paid for it. And it's just like crazy when you look at this. It's like, okay, this is definitely not as good of a piece of art as the Mona Lisa, right? Like, sure, maybe the Mona Lisa is famous because it's got, some kind of accident that happened, but at least it's like well painted, right? This is not even made by a person. It's just generated by a computer. And it's this little pixelated thing. How possibly could this have so much value? Well, what's really interesting is so many people know about CryptoPunks now, and it's been growing because it's this collection of 10,000. And if you go on Twitter now and you look at Jay-Z, or you look at Serena Williams, or you look at Snoop Dogg, these incredibly famous musicians, actors, artists, sports players, all these people, their profile pictures are of CryptoPunks. And that's crazy because you think about how much money would you have to pay to get Jay-Z to advertise, a brand, or like, I don't know, like Gucci or something like that. How much would they have to pay Jay-Z to replace his literal profile picture with like a picture of like a Gucci bag or something like that? And it's like the answer is like, you probably couldn't. Like, you could never pay enough money for these people to advertise this product so heavily, this brand so heavily. And yet these people are not being paid. They paid themselves. They all paid hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars to own a CryptoPunk to advertise it. And that's really the power behind a lot of these NFT collections, where it becomes a rebelling good. And these have become kind of a status symbol in the same way as physical art, where there are only 10,000 of them. And to get one really means that you're part of this club that also Jay-Z, Serena Williams, Snoop Dogg, and so many other famous people in the world also belong to. And the scarcity multiplied by the cultural value that every person who gets one is extremely incentivized to continue really growing this value over time has really made NFT profile picture collections extremely powerful concepts. And when you belong to this, you belong to more than just this like status symbol, but it's really more of a community, and you become friends with the other CryptoPunks. CryptoPunks follow each other on Twitter. They talk to each other, and you have this incredibly strong kind of subculture that grows around a lot of these NFT collections. And so we're seeing this fascinating trend of really taking the power of memes, the power of cultural value spread between these different art pieces and things like that to the next level with NFTs. And so that's a very short primer. So if you go to the next slide here, we don't have enough time to really dive into and try to sell everyone on exactly why NFTs have so much value and why they actually are here to stay. And they have a lot of sticky power behind them. There's the article NFTs 101 on Medium. You can go ahead, you can read that. That's a 2-hour read that really dives into more detail there. But just wanted to give you a little bit of background in why NFTs are quite exciting.
Yeah. Sorry. Cool. So I want to dive into how to buy and sell NFTs. But before we start, I want to ask a question to everyone. How many of you have crypto wallet? Because the first section is about crypto wallet, and I want to make sure if most of the people have it, then we probably want to skip and talk about more things that you all don't know about. It seems like a lot of people have, so we can actually, you do, okay, don't have it, no. Okay, maybe half of them don't have it. Okay, I'll quickly go through for the people who don't have a wallet so that you all know how to get started. Cool. So in order to start buying and selling NFTs, the first thing that you need to do is set up a crypto wallet. So the crypto wallet allows you to store crypto assets, for example, cryptocurrencies or NFTs. And it also allows you to interact with blockchain. So through this wallet, you are able to connect your wallet to marketplaces, NFT marketplaces such as OpenSea or certain website to mint the NFT. And also when you create the wallet, it will create private key and public keys, which I'm going to talk a little bit about that while I'm showing how to do it. So here, let me go back. Yeah, I want to show you how to actually set up a wallet. And it's really, really simple. It's all free, and it takes only 5 minutes, and you can make either desktop or mobile. All you need to do is go to MetaMask, which is one of the most popular wallet available. And you can, these are supported browsers, so you can try with any of the browsers. Or if you're on mobile, you can create, you can download the app on iPhone or Android. So first step is add to Chrome. And once you add that, it will show up in here. And I recommend to pin it so that you can always access to it very quickly whenever you need to use it. So once you install it, you can click it and you will start the instruction. And there are two options. One is if you already have wallet, you can actually recover your wallet. So if you want to use the different device, either different disk, different laptop or different mobile, you can just use the seed recovery phrase, which I'm going to talk about a little later. We can use the seed recovery phrase to recover the wallet. So you can change, you can easily change, you can easily have a kind of copy of wallet in different places. But now you don't have a wallet, you can just create a wallet and set the password. Please set the password, which is secure, so that, because if someone have access to your computer, and if someone can guess the password, then all your funds is going to be stolen. So password has to be secure enough. And this video, I'm not gonna play it here, but when you actually make a wallet, please play the video so that you will understand how exactly seed recovery phrase work. So the seed recovery, I mentioned this word seed recovery phrase a couple of times. So what is this? So this is seed recovery phrase is used to create a private key. So private key is just like key to your house. So you shouldn't share with anyone, and it's going to be used to sign the transactions. So with this private key, you have access to your fund, which means that if you give it to someone else, that person can access to your fund. And if you lose it, you will never have access to your fund. And again, if you want to recover wallet, you can use this seed recovery phrase to import this phrase, and then you can recover your wallet. So to store security, I always recommend people to have piece of paper and write it down. Don't take a screenshot, don't copy, don't share, don't store in your computer. Always write it down and store in a very, very secure place that only you can access to. But here I'm gonna do a little bit not secure way so that we can just go through. And here you have to confirm what were the words so that this wallet can make sure that you actually saved your seed recovery phrase. Go gentle, quick, leave, easily derive, size, full, anchor, pose. Again, I'm doing this because I'm not going to use this wallet, but you never should share your seed recovery phrase to anyone else. So once you do that, it's all done. It's so simple. And this is your wallet. And this, real quick, this part is wallet address, which is also known as public key. So this is kind of the address for your house. So if someone else wants to send NFT or cryptocurrency to you, you can just give this to that person. So this can be public, and even though you share this to someone else, they don't get access to your fund. So it's safe to share. And you can buy Ethereum, you can send to someone else. So with this wallet, you can do so many different things like buying NFTs or transferring cryptocurrencies. Okay, going back to, okay. Ben?
Yes, perfect. Sorry, I was answering a question on tax reporting. So yeah, MetaMask is a great wallet, great question if you do want to use tax, if you want to integrate with tax software. So it integrates with the most stuff. MetaMask is the kind of original Ethereum crypto wallet that basically is the most popular. There are a lot of other good wallets out there as well, Rainbow Wallet and so forth, but the one that's most universally supported is always MetaMask. Great. So how do you buy? So now that we've talked a little bit about what NFTs are and why they have value and how you can get set up, let's talk a little bit about how you can actually go ahead and buy. So if you go back to that slide, okay, cool, awesome. So there are two ways that you can really buy NFTs. So NFTs can be minted or they can be bought from an existing owner. So let's talk a little bit about what minting is. Minting is similar to, if you ever heard like a coin mint or something like that, countries mint coins and things like that, you know? So it's a very similar concept. Minting is basically creating a NFT that didn't exist out of thin air from scratch. And NFTs are minted when they first come into existence. And this is typically for projects that have not yet launched. And so for things that already exist, like CryptoPunks and Bored Ape Yacht Club, these NFT collections are always generally limited in edition. So there are only 10,000 of them. And once they're all created, they exist. You can't create any more. But if you get into the space and you learn about a new project that's not yet launched, to get your NFT, you're generally going to have to mint it. You're going to create it from scratch and you'll buy it directly from the creators of the project. And so they'll typically have a website. You go on that website and they'll ask you to connect your MetaMask wallet or whichever crypto wallet you have. And then there's a little button that says mint. And then you pay whatever amount of Ether or other cryptocurrency to go ahead and mint that piece. And then you're good to go. You get that NFT. And that NFT never existed until you created it. And you created it through interacting with what's known as a smart contract, a piece of code that's written on the Ethereum blockchain that goes ahead and records all this kind of information and has some logic, some programming code behind it that tells the Ethereum blockchain how to go ahead and create an NFT from scratch. So now that's doing a new project. That's all well and good, but the vast majority of existing successful projects are all sold out, like CryptoPunks, like Bored Ape Yacht Club, and so forth. So how do you buy one of those? Well, you can only buy those NFTs from someone who already has it, who already is a owner, and this is known as buying on the secondary market, like OpenSea or Rarible, and Foundation is another one. These are all places where you can go and you can see any existing owner who's selling their NFTs. And so if someone wants to sell their Bored Ape NFT, you go here on OpenSea and you see what price they're trying to sell it for, and then you can go ahead and buy and sell. And so if we go over here, this is a lot of stuff. So we can switch over to the next page, and we'll talk first about the different kinds of NFTs that you are able to actually buy today. And these are the four major kind of categories of NFTs. So first are one-of-ones. What are one-of-ones? These are, as they kind of suggest, unique pieces, one of one. So there's just only one of them that ever exists. And this is analogous to what you might think of when you think of traditional art, like the Mona Lisa or a Picasso painting or so forth, right? There's one of each kind of painting. There's only one Mona Lisa that lives in the world, and it's completely unique, and it was handmade, custom crafted, and all that. So one-of-ones typically refer to digital art pieces that are just custom made by an artist and sold as a unique piece in of itself. Now that's different from PFPs. Of course, all NFTs are generally unique. They're all different, but PFPs, profile picture collection pieces, are generally all similar and not individually handmade generated. They're generated by creating a lot of different traits and attributes. For example, a CryptoPunk can have different skin colors. It can be an alien, it could be a monkey, it can be a woman, it can be a man, like all these different kinds of attributes I can have. And then it has different hairstyles, it has different facial expressions, it's got different face accessories and things like that. So you put all these things together, and then you run it through a algorithm, a computer program that just randomly picks different attributes and puts them together and makes sure that every single one is unique. And then it spits out this whole collection. So when you look at a collection, you instantly know that a CryptoPunk is part of the CryptoPunk collection. You instantly know that a Bored Ape is part of the Bored Ape collection. These are all very recognizable, but they're all each individually very different as well. And so these are the other large kind of NFT project that people are kind of buying into today, are these PFP collections. And then we have blockchain games. And so NFTs, we haven't talked about this yet, are natural fits for digital assets of any kind, including blockchain games. And a good example of this is Gods Unchained. This is how I first got into NFTs 4 years back. Is I didn't really understand art. I've never been a collector of art, but I love gaming, right? I'm just like a game nerd. And so it made intrinsic sense to me. If you think of a game like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon trading cards, in real life, you buy these little packs of cards and you buy them for maybe $3 a pack or something like that, but you own those cards. If you later don't want to play this game anymore, or you want to sell a super rare card you got or something like that, you have complete control because you physically own this card. You can sell it to anyone that you want in the world. But that's no longer true if you play digital games. And in fact, there are very popular digital trading card games like Hearthstone that sell hundreds of millions of dollars of digital trading cards, just like the physical cards, because playing digitally is a lot more convenient. You can play with anyone in the world. You don't have to be in one geographic location. It's a lot easier to do the shuffling, all this stuff. And so a lot of people play online because it's more convenient. The only trade-off is you no longer own your cards. So if you spend $3,000 in Magic the Gathering trading cards in real life, you can sell those later for probably around the same amount of money. But online with Hearthstone, you spend $3,000, you lose all that money. And so the solution to this is NFTs. And so Gods Unchained, for example, is a NFT Magic the Gathering kind of trading card game, except the only difference is now you can play it digitally. You get all the benefits of playing a game digitally instead of in person, but you also own your cards fully and you can sell them to anyone else later on. And so that's really powerful. That's another huge aspect of NFTs that's taking off. You might have heard of things like Axie Infinity. That's another big one. And then the last major category are Metaverse NFTs. So you might have heard of the Metaverse. Facebook, for example, just changed its name to Meta, which is a huge deal. And a lot of major companies, a lot of major players are getting into the Metaverse because they're seeing that the world is going progressively more digital. And our technology for representing the world digitally is getting so much better. And so we have VR technology, the Oculus Quest, the Index, all these things that are getting extremely good. If you ever tried some of these VR headsets, it looks pretty realistic. It's very believable. And so Seoul, for example, the country of Korea, their capital city is literally creating a city government office in the Metaverse. So you can imagine, how difficult, how painful it is to go to maybe the DMV, things like that. But now you can just put on the headset, go in person, and do your administrative business with the government in the Metaverse. So this is becoming a huge new kind of a future for the world. And NFTs are the fundamental building block of the Metaverse, because NFTs are the only way that we know of right now that you can ascribe true ownership and digital value to real value to assets. And so this allows you to do things like own land in the Metaverse, very analogous concept to owning land in real life, real estate. You can own land, you can own buildings on top of that land, you can own all of these things as NFTs. And there's land that's sold for $2.4 million in Decentraland, these crazy sums of money, because people are thinking that this will be possibly even more valuable or even more popular than land in the real world. And so those are the different kinds of NFTs that you can buy. And sadly, we don't have enough time, if we go to the next slide here, to go and show you step by step how to go and mint and buy and sell and do all these things. But the good news is, our company, Curious Oddities Trading Club, our goal is to educate people. And so all we do is really, teach people how to do all these things. So we set up an interactive tutorial that Mai can walk you through right now real quick, how this entire process works. So.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it will walk you through all the process of how to set up wallet and how to mint NFTs and how to buy and sell NFTs. So the first section that I'm showing right now is let you connect. And if you don't have wallet, then it's going to show you how to set up wallet. And we design a way that you don't even have to have anything to start with. So we will airdrop a little bit amount of cryptocurrencies that you can use to pay for NFT, to pay for minting NFTs, because you always need a little bit of transaction fee. So if you go to, I won't show you all the process, but at the end of this tutorial, you are able to get your first NFTs if you haven't minted anything. So it's going to be on Polygon network, which is a little cheaper network than Ethereum, but still you'll be able to get first NFTs, and you should be able to see that NFT on OpenSea. And the other, so this is one module. This is this module will walk you through how to mint your first NFT. And if you go to this module, we are going to show you how to buy and sell NFTs. And we are using the test network. So it's kind of a test environment so that you can actually practice buying and selling NFTs, again, without even having cryptocurrencies to start with. So highly recommend to go. It's called curious.xyz, and I'm going to share the link here so that anyone can go through and try. Cool. And I think we are at time for Q&A. Kritika, maybe?
Yeah. Wonderful. So that was a whirlwind that gave you hopefully a foundation of why NFTs, why are they here and now? And we know that we had an audience that was on both sides in terms of getting started, and they could teach this panel. So we are all at about the same page now, and we have more knowledge for the next 10 minutes of Q&A, where ask Mai and Ben your hardest questions, and we will cover them. And as people start typing in, and please type into chat or in Q&A. People asked, are we going to share the recording? Yes, there will be a recording for everyone. And Ben and Mai, some of the questions that came in before, you spoke about people like Serena and buying the first set of, I think it was in the context of CryptoPunks and how that increased the value. One of the questions was, what are the demographics of the people who are buying NFTs? Is it a very eclectic set? There's also buzz that it's all the people who made money in crypto and they just need a way to park the money. So is it people really like the people in this audience who are buying? And how should they think about it?
Okay, yeah, I'll take this one. Yeah, no, it's a fantastic question. So the audience in crypto and the audience in NFTs is surprisingly different. The NFTs we really believe are the first time that we've seen a mainstream audience come into crypto, and we can see this in a couple different ways, where it's the first asset in crypto that isn't correlated with the price of crypto in the way that other things is. And so, there's a huge bear market recently with crypto and all that, and yet we didn't see activity with NFTs drop with this first crash. In fact, NFTs kind of started blowing up the first time that crypto started crashing at the end of last year, and that was a huge sign that people are coming into NFTs not from being crypto experts before, but from being brand new into the entire ecosystem. And they're coming in because it's intrinsically appealing and understandable and intuitive. It's like you can make money from owning digital assets. That's cool. That's easy to understand in a way that a lot of the rest of crypto is not. DeFi, DAOs, these other kinds of concepts are mostly people who are very, very deep in crypto already that are coming into that. And so we're seeing a lot more of a diverse demographic all around the world. It's a lot more global. I'll say NFTs are the most diverse audience that I've ever met anywhere in any domain in my life. And so in our Discord alone, for example, like a Syrian refugee we hired, because they just happened to be in our Discord and became one of our top 5 posters. And I have no idea how he managed to find his way here on 4 hours of internet on a generator. He uses a little generator and gets battery backup so he can type on his phone and still manage to be one of the top 5 most prolific posters on our Discord. And we've seen so many people from Singapore, from Africa. Some of my most prolific art piece pieces I've collected are from this huge collective people from Zimbabwe, Senegal, and Ghana. And there are more people from all around the world who get into NFTs than I've seen in crypto for sure, which is a lot more of a segmented, like, Western world kind of crowd, at least initially in the first days. But then also there are a lot more women coming into NFTs than in all these other domains. And I think there's a huge push in this space specifically to get representation for women. That's helped a lot. And so Will the Woman, for example, is a major project. There's Woman Rise. There's Meta Angels. There's so many different projects that are specifically trying to increase representation of women. So that helps a lot. But also the space, I think, has just gotten a lot more approachable, and it's a lot more inclusive in a lot of other ways. And so I don't know if Maya, you want to speak to that more, but yeah, it's a very diverse audience all around.
Yeah. If I had to a little bit more about women's part, I did talk to a lot of women in the space, and they feel like it's for them, and the most of the part, because the DeFi and cryptocurrency has been attracting people for interesting computer science and finance, and now the NFTs are attracting people who are interested in art, culture, music, media. So those are the kind of people who are kind of coming into the NFT space. So as Ben said, I think still a lot of the crazy sale, like, $60 million for like one piece, that's probably someone who has been making money in the cryptocurrency world. However, a lot of people who are new to this space, who didn't have interest in cryptocurrency, are certainly coming into the space recently because of NFTs.
Wonderful. Ben, you spoke about the intrinsic value of the original, and I promised I'd share the story of me buying a fake item, and I was wanting to buy Leah Pearlman, Power of Woman NFT. So I did a quick search on OpenSea, found the image, thought that I was buying an original, but as I saw nothing updating on the Power of NFT website about sales, I dug deeper and I found I had a fake, right? So there was a recent report that said, OpenSea 80% are either plagiarism or fake. How should the audience think about navigating that?
Yeah, really, really good question. And I'm so sorry that happened to you, but
I did find the original as well. So now I have both, and now it's a lesson I can share and say, spot the difference. I'll have a similar picture like your Mona Lisa picture of spot the original.
I love it. Yeah, no, everyone has gotten scammed. We've gotten scammed in the space. Everyone does. And it's an unfortunate reality of how nascent and how early the space is. And it's extremely sad because it doesn't have to be this way. And it will certainly not be in the future, because the intrinsic nature of an NFT means that tracking the original on a technical level is much easier than before. Tracking what's known as the provenance of a piece, which is the record of when it was created, who created it, who sold the piece to whom, and like all these things, and it's very easy to do through the blockchain. Unfortunately, the tools don't exist yet in a easy to use UI UX experience like OpenSea to actually make this easy for the average end consumer to understand. And it's impossible even for someone who's technical like us to I fall for scams where I'm like, yeah, that was really funny that I fell for that. And yet still the space is designed both in just being very technically complex and also being filled with things like FOMO and just everything moves so quickly in the space. And the scammers really prey on this. It's a beautiful playground for the scammers. They love it because it's just oh my gosh, all these people are trying to get into these things and they sell out in 30 seconds. And it's so hard to know which one's real and fake. And so it's extremely difficult to navigate. And the short-term solution to this that we see is more education. And so we really need to teach people, and that's what we're trying to do, to understand how to identify scams and how to avoid them. And Mai actually wrote, it's possibly the top third search result now on Google for how to avoid scams in NFTs. And so I can share that link later, but that's an amazing read where if you read that, it covers the major things that scammers do. And right now, unfortunately, being early in the space, it is like the Wild West. There is more responsibility on the individual to learn these things, to navigate it safely. It's possible to navigate safely, but it's not the default state. Over time, it will become that way when there are sufficient tools and UI experiences. Like OpenSea has kind of this blue checkmark thing now, similar to Twitter and Facebook and so forth. But it's an ongoing problem where with existing social media, it's still a problem, right? There are fake profiles, and then they have to give you a blue check mark, but it's not exact and people get scammed there and all that. With NFTs, it's actually, I believe, going to be easier because there is a real record on the blockchain that will be able to create processes around where you can prove that you're the original creator. And then it's very easy to automatically kind of verify this is the original collection and make sure that fakes can't hopefully exist. But that's going to take a couple years at least, I think, until we get there.
Amazing. And I know, I mean, the questions are flowing fast and furious. We are not going to be able to get to all of them in our 4 minutes left. So maybe just 2 questions. One, you already spoke about, from a technology evolution, how is it that you make it easier, more friendly in the infrastructure space? Are there other technology trends that you think about as you look out in the future? That's question 1. And question 2, someone asked, is NFTs only for digital art, or do you see physical, like the actual Mona Lisa, as in the physical image, becoming an NFT? So if you could take that 2 questions, and then we have our lucky winner for the giveaway as well. So Ben Mai.
Yeah, so first question, it's so a lot, because so many people are coming into the space, technology is moving really fast. And what I saw is, for example, if you look at the wallet, MetaMask is kind of old wallet, but if you look at the newer wallet, for example, Phantom wallet in Solana, it has a lot more like features that's easier to use. Like you can see NFTs and like as a pictures, or like it will show more direct way to show your what assets you have. So it has been getting, the user experience is getting a little better. It's not like, it's really not great at the moment, but a lot of VCs are coming into the space because a lot of consumers are coming into the space. So a lot of the startups are going into the space, and it's the speed is massive. So those companies are working a lot of solutions to protect consumers and also make the user experience much better.
Amazing. And will actual art, physical art, become NFTs?
Yeah, 100%. So physical art, as we explained in a slide, NFT is a certificate. So it can point to any kind of asset, and it could be digital assets, and it could be a physical item. And there's some NFT project that deals with physical item, for example, sneakers or foodies. I think Ben just got like NFT foodies recently. So it is possible to make a physical item as an NFT.
Amazing. All right. And Ben has very kindly sent more resources, and Mai has been posting more resources, including their Discord channel. And, again, the pace and the quality of answers is just superlative. So we'll direct you there for more questions. And we have our winner. Ben and Mai, are you ready to announce our winner? Oh, there you go. We have Shivani Chawla. So Shivani, if you could just send an email to molly@TiE.com and just send us your information. We'll get you your Ethereum address. If you don't have a wallet, again, we'll help you get set up so that we can get you an amazing Addy. Over to you. Are we actually going to know, Ben and Mai, which Addy is now the lucky winner of Shivani, or are we going to pick?
It's a random sampling, so it'll be a surprise. But yeah, we're so excited, and sorry, I didn't realize I was messaged us, and I thought that was everyone. But yeah, Shivani, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for winning the prize. We'll just need the Ethereum address. We'll get that sent over, and then we'll get you your own Addy. And the Addy, to give you context, is our NFT collection. We sold 5,000 of these, and they give you a host of benefits. They give you, for example, free access to all the Nas Academy courses that we made. They give you priority access to our Q&A service. So if you didn't get a question answered here, anyone is welcome to go into our Discord, discord.gg/CATC. You can get your question answered there. And we have a Q&A service there where 95% questions get answered in 6 hours or less. But if you have an Addy, you can get that answered much quicker. And we have a bunch of utility tools like a portfolio tracker, where if you have your Addy, you can go ahead and track all the different NFTs you bought, the profit you made, and things like that. And so congratulations.
Amazing.
So excited.
Congratulations, Mai, you have the final word.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, because all of you are interested in NFT, and this session was really short to cover everything that we wanted to say. So one way to learn really is to go to NASA Academy, and we created the How to Master NFT in 7 days, which is the most comprehensive course. And sorry, what the name of the person who won was Sadi?
Shivani.
Shivani, you're so lucky you get to access the course. So please go to NASA Academy and you'll get to learn all the comprehensive.
Amazing. Not just the Addy, but she gets the course as well. With that, I think, Maya and Ben, you can see all of the thank yous coming in. We know this was short and the hour went so quickly by. Thank you for all that you do for this world and for being pioneers in the space. Anita, if you want 30 seconds to wrap us up, we are good.
Thanks so much for having us here. This is so amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining.
All right. I think we're going to keep on time and wrap up. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And for those of the 20% who said new to NFTs, now when you go to your next one, you can say you're the expert and you can run this panel as well. Maya and Ben, thank you so much for being here today and really pioneering the space. Thank you all.
Thanks so much for having us.